Hello, I'm Rob Thomas. Welcome to another episode of Club and Resort Talks. Today's episode is sponsored by Coore. Coore has grown into a leader in providing mobile food service solutions to a wide and robust customer base. As they embark on a third generation of family ownership, they continue to strive to provide customers with quality equipment, innovation that solves their issues, and over-the-top customer service. With that out of the way, let's introduce you to Phil Keren, our senior editor. Phil, how's it going?
Fantastic. How are you, Rob?
Good. Hey, I forgot to
Good.
mention crestcore.com for more information
Oh,
on Crestcore. Hey, before we get to the news, I wanted to mention really quickly about last week's podcast with Jarrett Chirico, the director of rackets at Royal Oaks Country Club, and also the co-founder or the founder and CEO of the Directors Club. There's a lot of great information in there on the future of rackets, the importance of certification, and so on and so forth. We're looking at the next 5 to 10 years down the road and what the role of the director of rackets will be, as opposed to a director of tennis, a director of pickleball, so on and so forth. There's so much more than just a head rackets pro anymore. So go back there if you haven't watched it yet. Jarrett Chirico's podcast from last Friday. So hey, now that we got that taken care of, Phil, what are you seeing in the news?
well, Rob, I guess this week kind of focused on some big projects happening at golf courses and resorts. As we know, at times in watching the news, unfortunately, courses and resorts have been damaged by hurricanes, and some of them have gone through a pretty significant recovery effort. I thought it'd be nice to highlight one of those today. We posted a story this week about the property at LaPlaya Beach and Golf Resort in Naples, Florida. They had significant damage there from Hurricane Ian in September of 2022. And we posted a story this week talking about how the resort just finished an 18-month restoration project. It encompassed 189 of the resort's guest rooms, a complete rebuild and elevated design enhancements of their famed beach house, and restoration of the 4 beachside pools. Also made improvements to the resort's beachfront restaurant, lounge, and poolside lounging area. So just wanted to mention that one quickly. It was nice to see the recovery effort, um, and to see the project completed. I know there's other places like that that have had uh, significant damage from a hurricane and or some other weather event, but on the coast there, it's often hurricanes. So nice to see that, and wish them the best going forward as we head into summer.
Yeah, if you go into clubandresortbusiness.com and you see that little search button, click on it and type in Hurricane Ian, because we had a lot of coverage back in 2022 on not only resorts but clubs. Some of the damage that was done, clubs really. I mean, they kind of galvanized them, the community, especially up in Naples. I mean, Naples is just jam packed with clubs and resorts. It's really maybe the location in Florida, which Florida is a target-rich environment to begin with. I can't think of the stat offhand, but within the Naples proper, there are just countless clubs, and they all were affected in some way or another from Hurricane Ian. And we've written numerous stories. And one thing that I know we just posted not too long ago is about how LaPlaya Beach and Golf Resort has done a lot for the turtle nesting season. And it kind of strikes me as special because they're going through such drama trying to get, recover from Hurricane Ian, yet they have the wherewithal to keep these tiny little turtles in mind on their beach and getting them safely to and from the golf during nesting season. So a lot of great stuff to read if you go onto the website and search Hurricane Ian.
Absolutely, and I agree. That story on the turtles where they partnered with the Conservancy of Southwest Florida to protect sea turtles. That was a great story, and like you said, it was hats off to them to be working on that same partnership at the same time while they were trying to essentially restore what they had lost during the hurricane.
Yeah, it's a nice story. It's a nice, it's not just about us, obviously. We're all in this together. It's nice that they lend a helping hand to those that can't help themselves sometimes. Although I think if you got rid of us, got rid of the humans, I think the turtles would probably be just fine without us.
Probably. That's a good bet. True. Well, looking at down in Florida, I know we check out a lot of things in Florida on this podcast, but I'm going to head over to the Northeast where they're talking about a reimagined version of the Pines course at the International in Bolton, Massachusetts. It's on schedule to have limited member play this fall. Um, Design team on that is Bill Coore and Ben Crenshaw. Um, and they, of course, founded the firm Coore and Crenshaw. And they're wrapping up a project that started a couple years ago. And they've now created a new course that's using the land's topography, unique landforms, mature vegetation, and interesting. I know a lot of our viewers and listeners, of course, familiar with the course. It's best known for being the America's longest golf course. If I saw the story right, Rob, it's over 8,300, or it was over 8,300 yards. Is that correct? Somewhere in
Yeah.
that neighborhood. Wow,
It
that's
was
amazing.
8,000 and then it was redesigned or remodeled, redesigned to go
Right.
8,300. So it was crazy.
Yeah, and I saw that was back looking at that story. That was great. Great Robert Trent Jones Jr. Was involved with that, with the lengthening of the course there at the time. Although even back in 1955, I see it was still just a touch over 8,000 yards even then. So that's something. But on that point, they're actually going to look to shorten it a bit. Emphasis on length will be replaced by um, trying to have a little more strategy with the course and also making it more playable. That's a word we hear a lot now with golf courses and redesigns of golf courses. And I thought this was an interesting aspect of it too, is that it's going to be one of the regions, few courses that has fescue grass on the tees, fairways, and in the rough. Um, that type of grass is typically found on courses in Scotland and Ireland. So I thought it was interesting that they're going to add that component to the course as well. I think that should be really interesting to see. One thing it didn't mention, doesn't say what the length of the course will be once it's been completely finished. I was a little curious about that, but I think that's great to see. Emphasis on making it a little more playable, also having grass vegetation feature that's not often seen on golf courses in the Northeast. So looking forward to that for golfers there in Massachusetts.
Yeah, I think Francis we met was consulted on the original design back in the 50s. If I'm not mistaken. It's been a while
Yeah.
since I've read the article, but
Absolutely.
spectacular. And I'm sure it's not going to be 8,300. It's not going to be anywhere near 8,000 yards. But Coore and Crenshaw are known for using the land the way it was intended. So I mean, it's going to be spectacular. It's going to be a test for the greatest golfers and also playable for guys like you and I, somewhere in the middle, and even probably beginners. Those guys are spectacular, and I'm sure the golf course is going to reflect their brilliance.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sorry. And I just realized I was looking at it, I forgot to mention a couple other things they were going to do. They're going to put a new bunker stand, edge perimeters of the bunkers, trim and clear some trees, establish fairway and rough lines better, um, seed the practice putting green. So yeah, I agree. I think it'll be great, and seems appropriate too, because Ben Crenshaw, of course, I think we would probably agree one of the best putters in the history of the PGA Tour. So it seems appropriate that it's course that's going to be redesigned, perhaps with a little bit more of an emphasis on the short game. So looking forward to that. And let's see. Now let's see. I was in the South. I was in the Northeast. We'll go to the Midwest, Rob. We're going to go all around the country today. How about that? Uh, Swope Memorial Golf Course in Kansas City is starting or hoping to start a project, hoping to start a $7 million renovation. There's actually a proposal before the city's city council for the project. Um, if approved, the plans would include rebuilding tee boxes, cart paths, and greens, installing a new drainage system, filling the bunkers with firmer sand. Some greens will be less steep and others will be wider. So a lot of changes with the green designs. They will also renumber certain holes to improve pace of play. That's kind of an interesting idea, not one I've seen a whole lot with different projects. And also, as with the previous story, removing a bunch of trees, again, to improve playability. There's that word again. And turf health as well. So that should be a great project as well. I know they're still waiting on the wheels of government sometimes move slowly for all kinds of projects, including ones with a golf course. So hopefully they'll get that approved soon and can get started on that one.
I love the removing trees aspect as far as golf course health. As you know, the trees compete with the turf for nutrients, for water.
Yep.
Somewhere in the 1970s, the arborists took over and planted, a million trees across the
Mhm.
country. It affected the golf courses. I also, you and I are both big proponents of the environmental aspect of golf, and we love to see those trees perhaps get replanted elsewhere, if possible. I love nature. Trees have their place on golf course, but they do tend to overtake an existing golf course. So that's going to be a nice project there in Kansas City.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm a history buff, and I enjoyed reading that apparently the great Ben Hogan played on that golf course way back when. So thought that was a neat little anecdote to throw in there as well. Um, Back to the East Coast, let's see, in Greenwich, Connecticut, the Burning Tree Country Club is also going to have a big renovation and enhancement as well. They are planning to actually going away from the golf course though for a second. They're going to replace their old pool building with a modern facility that they're going to call the Aquatics and Recreation Center. They're also going to have the current paddle tennis building is going to make way for new structure. The new features other features of their upgrade project would be an open air poolside bar. Sounds great. 1,500 square foot youth center, fitness center, children's splash pad, two simulators catering to both golf and other sports. That sounds great as well. And designated co-working spaces. So a lot of interesting, kind of an interesting combination of items they have in there. Another chain, simulators we're seeing more at country clubs, fitness centers becoming more popular as well, and an interest in having something that's fairly comprehensive. So people who are members of that club, that's where they can go to do their workout rather than going somewhere else. So clubs doing everything they can to keep people at their spaces as long as possible and enjoying what they have to offer.
Yeah, I mean, it's so much more about golf, so much more about tennis these days. The country club is about families, about bringing friends, community. One of the benefits of COVID, of course, has been the influx of golfers and people joining private clubs for numerous reasons. But all that influx of people has brought in a bunch of capital, and these capital expenditures are now kind of either coming to fruition or just kicking off. So we are in another golden age of country clubs, I think. Let's hope this one rides out for quite a while and stay strong.
Yeah, absolutely. And indeed, I think we've talked that point. We've talked about that point a lot, but I think it's worth repeating. I think COVID allowed people to sort of rediscover all the great aspects, all the great things that country clubs offer, whether it is golf, pickleball, tennis, um, finding out about the fitness center. And of course, actually, I've been working on stories about patios. And of course, those spaces have become, many clubs have become expanded more seating, more usage. Even in that era, I think people kind of discovered, when they had to eat outside because of what was going on in our world, they sort of discovered, hey, I kind of enjoy this. And of course, we know many of those places that either they didn't have outdoor dining and then they decided to keep it after people said they liked it, or they had it already but expanded it. So it's been great to see all that for sure.
Hey, you're preaching to the choir. Love
Yeah.
it, love it, love it. Hey,
Mhm.
that's it for us. Okay, no guests this week. We have a short week. We got Memorial Day on us. I'm going to be out of town. We're going to leave the keys to the car to Phil here. So if you want more of us, because people can't get enough of you and I, right? We're sweeping the nation. We're crazed that you know you just can't you can't scratch that itch enough. So we're like a rash, right? A bad rash. But anyway, so if you want more of us, look back at the recent podcast. We got Evan Summer from Hyperion Field Club. We had Eric Bray, director at GGA Partners. I know I spoke with Jason Becker from Golf Life Navigators, going back another month. Jimmy Hanlon PGA, you spoke with
Yep.
professional. He's a
Great
TV
conversation.
personality. You've
Yes.
probably seen him on TV. So go
Yep.
back, Jarrett Chirico from last week or any other of these podcasts. We're here for you people. So take care, stay well, and have a great Memorial Day weekend.